HUF, सी HUF ये जो कंसेप्ट है ये कोई कोडिफाइड लॉ नहीं है। आप लोग जानते हैं कि हिंदू लॉ हो या मुस्लिम लॉ हो, these all are not the codified law। और हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली है वो जो व्यापारी या जो व्यक्ति बाय बर्थ HUF कहला जाता है। इफ एनी पर्सन डाइज इंटरस्टेट, मतलब अगर वो विल करे बिगर उसकी डेथ हो जाती है, देन हिंदू सक्सेशन एक्ट 1956 या तो इंडियन सक्सेशन एक्ट 1925, ये दोनों में से एक प्रिवेल होता है। If the person dies intestate without executing a will, then there will be a Hindu succession act which will prevail. And if there is a testamentary, there is a will, then there will be an Indian succession act. Now, as I have stated, Hindu law is not the codified law. Now, HUF can be created by law and it should not be created by an act of a party. मित्रों, HUF का जो टैक्स प्लानिंग हम लोग कर रहे हैं या HUF को एक टैक्स प्लानिंग टूल से हम लोग देख रहे हैं, ये टैक्स प्लानिंग टूल के अलावा भी बहुत सारी ऐसी जगह है जहां पर HUF हमें काम आता है। हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली इज अ यूनिक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ इंडियन सोसाइटी। मेरा जो डेलिब्रेशन रहेगा वो हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों मिक्स रहेगा एज रिक्वेस्टेड बाय द ऑर्गेनाइजर्स। Now it is a group of relative which comes together for the kinships, for the marriage, or for the descendant from the common ancestor. Now it comprises of children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. The income tax act, हमारा जो income tax का कानून है, that uses the term Hindu undivided family instead of Hindu joint family, which is used in common parlance। हम लोग ऐसे हिंदू जॉइंट फैमिली के नाम से जाने जाते हैं, लेकिन इनकम टैक्स एक्ट में हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली के नाम से डेफिनेशन दी हुई है, सेक्शन 2 सबसेक्शन 31 which talks about the definition of HUF। HUF जो हिंदू लॉ है उसके मुताबिक जब आदमी का जन्म होता है, किसी व्यक्ति की बर्थ होती है, then HUF always creates and he becomes the members of the HUF। इनकम टैक्स का कानून है जिसमें HUF है वो एक अलग तरह से क्रिएट होता है। There are only two ways to create HUF। The one is either you can create HUF through the will, and the second you can create HUF by way of gift। As far as HUF is concerned, there are two ways to create the HUF under the Income Tax Act। One is either by way of a gift and another is either by, see there is a difference between the income tax and Hindu undivided family। The HUF says what is the difference? It is pertinent to note that the first and foremost difference is Hindu joint family derives its roots from the Hindu law, whereas the HUF is created for the purpose of taxation। हम लोग जो income tax में HUF create करते हैं, that is only for the purpose of taxation। As per the Hindu law, Hindu family is assumed to be a Hindu joint family unless contrary it is proved। जैसा मैंने बताया कि किसी के जन्म होता है, then he becomes the HUF, उसका HUF खड़ा हो जाता है, the member or the co-partners of the HUF, whereas no such assumptions are made in taxation laws until and unless the HUF is explicitly created। अगर आपने will के थ्रू या तो gift के थ्रू अगर HUF create किया हुआ है, then it is comes under the purpose of the Income Tax Act। Under the Hindu law, owing the joint family property is not a precondition for the existence of Hindu law। आपके पास पुरानी ancestral property या joint property होनी चाहिए, that is not requirements under the Hindu law, whereas the HUF without any joint property is meaningless for the purpose of taxation। अगर इनकम टैक्स की बात करते हैं तो ancestral property या joint property is the must, it is requirements of the law। According to the Hindu law, the son in the womb in many aspects is treated as a son in existence. अगर माँ के पेट में बच्चा है, then also to some extent it is considered to be a member, but no such privileges are given under the taxation law. ये किस तरह से है? ये slowly and gradually when we go with the deliberations, I will come to know about the details of this particular provision. The creation of the joint family is automatic. जैसा मैंने कहा, एक बार बर्थ हो गया, बच्चा पैदा हो गया, then the HUF directly creates. However, in HUF it requires either the gift or the will. In this context, अगर ये क्वेश्चन अराइज होता है कि अगर ग्रुप ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स साथ में आते हैं तो उसको HUF माना जाएगा या नहीं माना जाएगा, उसको हम लोग बॉडी ऑफ इंडिविजुअल कहेंगे, उसको HUF नहीं गिना जाएगा. अगर हम लोग बेसिक मीनिंग ऑफ HUF की बात करें, if we see under the Income Tax Act provides a special status to the HUF under the Act, and it covers under the definition of Section 2, subsection 31 of the defined under the Income Tax Act. However, as per the Hindu law, a Hindu undivided family is ordinarily joined not only in estate but in food or in worship also. खाने के लिए, कोई धार्मिक कार्य करने के लिए अगर आप लोग साथ में आते हैं तो उसको भी एक जॉइंट फैमिली, हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली माना जाएगा. The members of the Hindu undivided family lives in a state of the union unless the contrary is established. HUF is a creation of law. As I have stated that HUF is a creation of law and cannot be created by the act of the parties except in case of the adoptions by the members of the HUF. HUF is a separate legal entity as per section 231 of the Income Tax Act, and therefore as long as the HUF is in existence, no individual member can be separately assessed in respects of his income. अगर एक बार HUF assessed होता है तो उसके जो member है, their income will become the exempt as far as their share from the as a member of the HUF is concerned. Section 10 subsection 2 of the Income Tax Act exempt the share received by the members of the HUF. I have taken so many decisions in my papers also which supports whatever contention I am raising before the participants. There are plethora of decisions which I have taken in my submission. This will be circulated to you, so I am not discussing any decisions as far as the aspects of the HUF is concerned. Now, even if the family is reduced to sole, means अगर एक ही आदमी रहता है, there will be a surviving co-partners, male or female, whosoever is there, without any other family member, then income tax is leviable on the joint family considering like a HUF. Now, the HUF includes those persons who by birth acquire an interest in some joint family property. It also includes all lineal descendants of this person and their wives and the children, both son and daughter. Even a married daughter can remain a part of the HUF while being a member of her spouse family HUF. Meaning thereby, there is a change in the HUF. 9/9/2005 के बाद में 9 सितंबर 2005 के बाद में जब जो अमेंडमेंट चेंज एज फार एज द डॉटर्स आर कंसर्न, एक ऐसी मिथ चल रही है कि डॉटर कैन नॉट बिकम द मेंबर ऑफ द फादर्स HUF. डॉटर, even she is a married daughter, she can become the continue to be the members of the father's HUF. She will be considered as the co-partners of the father's HUF, and she will become the member of the husband's HUF also. So she will have a two privilege with her. She will become the member or the co-partners of the father's HUF, and she will become the member of her husband's HUF also. तो ये 9/9/2005 में क्या अमेंडमेंट आया है उसके बारे में थोड़ी डिटेल में जानकारी कुछ देर बाद में लेते हैं. पहले व्हाट इज हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली वो हम डिस्कस कर लें. Now, Hindu undivided family includes the lineal descendants, जो कैटेगरी 1 में आता है सेक्शन 8 ऑफ द सक्सेशन एक्ट. वो क्या कैटेगरी 1 में आता है, that also we will discuss later on. Now, that lineal descendants of these persons, their wives, children, both son and daughter, married, unmarried, these all are the party of the HUF or the member or the co-partners of the HUF. Now, Hindu undivided family has not been defined under the Income Tax Act. Income Tax Act में इसकी कोई परिभाषा या उसके कोई स्टेट्यूट में हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली की परिभाषा नहीं की गई. Now, when we dissect this, अगर इसको हम छूटा करते हैं या उसको अलग करते हैं, then essentials are he should be a Hindu. Now who are covered under the Hindu? The Hindus covered under the Hindu definition. The Jain, Sikhs, Buddhists are treated as Hindus, but not the Muslims, Christians, Parsis, Jews. They are not the Hindu. A family, that is a group of person, more than one person, and should be undivided, living jointly and having common amongst them. They are living together, having the joint and a common agenda that we consider as a common joint Hindu family. Now, if all these three essentials are cumulative, अगर साथ में ये जुड़े हैं, ये तीनों तीन साथ में है, then it is considered to be a Hindu undivided family. Now, whether this generation of 3 degrees from a common ancestor that includes wife and children and adopted child also. Adopted child is also considered to be a part of the HUF. Now, Hindu Succession Act as amended in 2005 with effect from 9th September 2005, daughter even after the marriage would be a co-partner. She will continue to be a co-partner of which her father is a co-partner, or his father is a karta of the HUF. Even after her marriage also, she shall become a member of her husband's HUF. As I have stated, that her right in the parental HUF or family would remain intact in that of a son. मतलब जितना भी उसके लड़का जो HUF में son जितना भी हकदार है, जितना भी उसका rights है, उतना ही rights daughter का भी रहता है. This has been amended after 9th September 2005. There is now no discrimination between the son and the daughter. Now, Hindu undivided family is definitely a special feature to the Hindu society, those who are governed under the Hindu definition. Now, this Hindu undivided family is defined as consisting of a common ancestor and his lineal male descendant, together with their wives and unmarried daughter. Therefore, a Hindu undivided family consists of male and female both. अगर हम लोग HUF की बात करते हैं, then the section 2 subsection 31 talks about the HUF as far as income tax act is concerned. Now, अगर हम देखें कि Hindu undivided family, that is the Buddhists, Jains, Sikhs, they all are covered under the Hindu definition and they can all form the part of the HUF. Now, there are two schools of thoughts as far as Indian HUF is concerned. One is a Mitakshara law and second is a Dayabhaga law. As far as Dayabhaga law is concerned, it governs in the Bengal and Assam. There are two states where this Dayabhaga law prevails. Except these two states, majority of the HUF are covered as far as the Mitakshara, or they follow the Mitakshara law of the HUF. Now, daughters born in the family are its member till their marriage, and women married in the family are equally members of the Hindu undivided family. On the other hand, at the given point of time, a co-partnership is limited to only members to the 4th degree of the common male ancestor. Now, what do you call by Hindu? As I have stated, that Hindu by religion, section 2 of Hindu Succession Act 1956 elaborately declares that it applies to any person who is Hindu by religion and in any form it's of development. Meaning thereby, if somebody is changing his religion from any other religion to the Hindu religion, he or she will be also called the Hindu. So therefore, a Vaishnava or a Lingayat or a follower of a Brahmo or the Pratna or a Arya Samaj, Buddhist, Sikhs, anybody, they all are called a Hindu undivided family. Now, Hindu undivided family is a legal expression which has been employed in taxation law as a separate taxable entity. It is the time thing as joint Hindu family. It has not been defined under the Income Tax Act. It has been well defined connotations under the Hindu law. So as far as Hindu law is concerned, there will be a Hindu law where HUF will be governed. There will be a HUF under the Income Tax Act where the HUF will be defined under section 2 subsection 31 as far as Hindu law is concerned. Now, let us move to the section 8 of the Indian Succession Act, there are certain class of the person which has been defined who comes under the Hindu undivided family, or those who are having the rights in the Hindu undivided family. Now, if we consider this, that if there is a HUF of the father, where the father is the karta, wife is the member, son and a daughter is there. Now, father expires intestate, that is without executing a will, then there will be a Hindu Succession Act will prevail. Now, Hindu Succession Act, we have a different connotation. If the father expires intestate, means he is not executing the will, then there will be a Indian Succession Act will prevail. And in Indian Succession Act, Section 8 talks about the various class of the person who get the rights in the property of the particular father, considered to be a member of the HUF. Now, as I have stated, there are two ways to create the HUF. One is either through the will and another is either through the gift. When any person is executing a will, then in the will, he is required to mention the details of the property or the amount which he is required to give or required to give to his family members who is the HUF person. Means whenever you are mentioning or you are preparing a will, any amount, any property, any assets, when you are mentioning in the will, you will have to mention that this property or this amount will be transferred to so and so's HUF. If HUF word is not mentioned, then definitely there will not be a property which goes to the head of the HUF. It will be considered as an individual. When you are creating a HUF through the gift, the majority of the person right now creating the HUF by way of a gift. Now you can have a gift from any stranger person or any third person without having any blood relation. So whenever you are getting any gift from a person who is a stranger or not having blood relation, then this amount will be taxable in your hand under the head income from other sources as far as section 56 subsection 2 is concerned. Now, when you are getting a gift, you are required to execute a gift deed whereby the details of the donor and donee is required to be mentioned. Now, when the donor is giving a gift to the donee, he is required to mention that this gift is giving to the particular person and to his HUF. You will have to write this gift is given to the HUF. If the word not given to the HUF is mentioned, then it will not be considered as a gift to the HUF, and it will be considered as a gift to the individual. So whenever you are preparing a gift deed, then you will have to mention that this gifted amount is given to so and so person HUF. I have annexed two draft of the gift deed, the format of the two gift deed in my paper book, which you will find it, the details mentioned in that particular gift deed, where how to form or how to create a HUF, the format is given as far as my paper book is concerned. Now coming to the section 8, that is the general rule of succession. As I have stated, if the person dies intestate, that is without executing a will, then the general rule of succession act will prevail. Section 8 talks about the property of male Hindu dying intestate shall devolve as per provisions given below. Now, what is the provision? The provision says that firstly it goes to the heirs specified in class 1 of the schedule of that particular section 8. If the no heirs are there in class 1, then it goes to the class 2 of that particular section. If no heirs are there as far as class 2 is concerned, then it will go to the agnates of the deceased. If the no agnates are also there, then it will go to the cognates of the deceased. And if none of these are there, then it will go to the President of India. Now let us discuss what is the class 1 of the schedule 8, schedule of the section 8. Now the class 1 talks about the son, When there is a person who is a male member, then a husband, wife, son, daughter, minor, major, married, unmarried. These all are will be the member and the co-partners of the HUF. Now, if the person dies intestate, then his property will be distributed among the legal heirs in the capacity of individual, not as an HUF. The person dies without executing a will, then his property will be distributed among the legal heirs under the individual capacity, not as a capacity of HUF. So if will is not executed and the gift deed is not executed, then the whatever distribution is there, it will be distributed as an individual capacity, not as a HUF capacity. Now, class 1 heir, who are under the class 1 heir? The son of a father, then the son of a predeceased son. Imagine the situation, अगर कोई ऐसी situation है कि जिसमें बेटे की मृत्यु पिता के पहले हो जाती है, the son of a predeceased son. The third category is son of a predeceased son of a predeceased son. मतलब पोते की भी डेथ उसके पहले हो जाती है, या उसकी विडो है, उसकी विधवा है. The widow of a predeceased son, जो सन का डेथ फादर के पहले हो चुका है, उसकी अगर विधवा है, the widow of a predeceased son of a predeceased son, उसके ग्रैंडसन की भी मृत्यु हो जाती है, और अगर वो मैरिड है तो उसकी जो वाइफ है, उसकी जो विधवा है वो, then the mother, then the daughter, then the son of a predeceased daughter. अगर लड़की की मृत्यु हो जाती है, प्रीडिसीज मृत्यु मतलब लड़की अगर फादर के पहले उसकी डेथ हो जाती है, तो लड़की के चाहे वो लड़का हो या लड़की हो, लड़की का हस्बैंड नहीं, मतलब उनका दामाद इसमें नहीं आएगा, लेकिन जो लड़की है, उनके जो लड़के हैं या उनकी जो लड़की है, चाहे वो मैरिड हो या वो अनमैरिड हो, वो क्लास 1 हेयर में आएंगे. Then there will be a daughter of a predeceased son of a predeceased son. मतलब लड़का और लड़की दोनों शादीशुदा है, और अगर उनकी डेथ हो चुकी है फादर की डेथ के पहले, तो उनके अगर बच्चे हैं, they will be considered as a member of the co-partners of the HUF as the case may be. तो पहले क्लास में कौन आएगा? This entire class of S, again I have taken in my paper. So you will have the entire chart and a tree of the legal heirs, those who are in the class 1, those who are in the class 2. मतलब अगर HUF है और अगर फादर की डेथ हो जाती है और अगर विल नहीं किया है, then it will be distributed among the legal heirs as per section 8 of the Succession Act, जिसमें legal heirs class 1 लड़का, लड़की, मैरिड, अनमैरिड, उनके बच्चे, लड़के के बच्चे और लड़की के बच्चे. लड़की का जो हस्बैंड है मतलब दामाद जो है वो क्लास 1 कैटेगरी में नहीं आता है, वो कोई भी कैटेगरी में नहीं आता है. So daughter has also got the right in the HUF of the father. This is the situation after 9/9/2005. I am not discussing about any of the provisions which were there prior to the 9/9/2005, as we have to discuss now the latest provision. अगर इन सारी चीजों में से कोई नहीं है तो क्लास 2 के एयर्स आते हैं. क्लास 2, अच्छा, पहली कैटेगरी में अगर हमारी ये मिथ है कि अगर लड़का या किसी का डेथ हो जाता है तो उसकी प्रॉपर्टी जो है वो सिर्फ बच्चों में या उसकी बीवी में बांटी जाती है, उसकी मदर जो है, माता का भी इतना ही इक्वल शेयर रहेगा जितना उसकी वाइफ का रहेगा और जितना उनके बच्चों का रहेगा. मतलब अगर किसी की डेथ हो जाती है और वो उसके पीछे उसकी मदर है, उसकी वाइफ है, उसका लड़का एक है और उसकी एक लड़की है, अगर ये 4 जन बच जाते हैं तो जो प्रॉपर्टी वो आदमी की रहती है उसके 4 इक्वल शेयर होंगे. मदर को भी इतना ही शेयर जाएगा जितना बीवी को जाएगा, जितना लड़के को जाएगा, जितना लड़की को जाएगा. अगर लड़के की डेथ हो जाती है, देयर इज अ प्रीडिसीज ऑफ अ सन बिफोर द फादर, तो जो लड़के का 1/4 शेयर था उसमें, वो 1/4 शेयर जो है लड़के का, वो उसकी बीवी अगर विडो है तो उसकी बीवी और उसके बच्चे के बीच में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो जाएगा. अगर लड़का अनमैरिड है या लड़की अनमैरिड है और प्री डिसीज्ड है, उनका डेथ पहले हो जाता है, तो बाकी के जो लीगल हेयर्स है उसमें इक्वल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होगा। मतलब एचयूएफ में अगर किसी की डेथ हो जाती है तो उसका जो शेयर है वो बाकी के जो लीगल हेयर्स है उसके अंदर डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो जाएगा। और अगर किसी का जन्म होता है, किसी का बर्थ होता है, तो बाकी के जो लोग हैं उसमें से उसका शेयर है वो जो नया जन्म हुआ है जिसका, उसके अंदर वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो जाएगा। So when there is a birth, the share will be reduced. When there is a death, the share will be increased. क्लास 2 कैटेगरी जो है, जैसे क्लास 1 कैटेगरी है उसमें मदर आते हैं, क्लास 2 कैटेगरी है उसमें फादर का राइट्स आता है। फादर के राइट्स के बाद में सन्स, डॉटर्स, सन्स का राइट्स आता है। मतलब अगर लड़का है और उसकी जो डॉटर है, लड़के की डॉटर है मतलब पोती है, उसके लड़के का राइट्स जो है वो क्लास 2 की कैटेगरी में आता है। क्लास 2 की कैटेगरी में ब्रदर का भी हिस्सा आता है, सिस्टर्स का भी हिस्सा आता है और बाकी सारे सिबलिंग्स का भी हिस्सा आता है। एक फादर का एचयूएफ है, उसमें अगर उसके दोनों भाई है, दो लड़के हैं, तो दोनों लड़के उस फादर के एचयूएफ में मेंबर्स या को पार्टनर हो सकते हैं। लेकिन दो अलग अलग भाई है तो दोनों भाई एक दूसरे के एचयूएफ में ना ही मेंबर ना ही को पार्टनर्स रह सकते हैं। दोनों का एचयूएफ अलग गिना जाएगा, इंडिपेंडेंट गिना जाएगा। If there is the two sons, they are having a different HUF, they cannot become the members or the co-partners in the HUF of each other. They can be a member or the co-partner in the HUF of the father, but they cannot be the member or the co-partners in their own HUF. अगर क्लास 2 की कैटेगरीज में कोई नहीं है तो उसकी प्रॉपर्टी एग्नेट्स को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो जाएगी। एग्नेट्स मतलब जो पेरेंटल साइड है, फादर के साइड के जो रिलेटिव है उसके बीच में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो जाएगी। अगर वहां पर भी कोई नहीं है देन देयर विल बी अ कॉग्नेट्स, मतलब जो मैटरनल साइड है, माता की साइड है, उस केस में ये सारी चीजें उनकी मदर की साइड को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो जाएगी। और अगर इन चीजों में से कोई भी नहीं है देन इट विल बी डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड अमॉन्ग्स, इट विल बी गो टू द कॉर्पस ऑफ द प्रेसिडेंट। ये सारी चीजें प्रेसिडेंट के कॉर्पस में चली जाएगी, प्रेसिडेंट के फंड में चली जाएगी। Now if we see about the Hindu Succession Act 2005, I will touch some of the aspects because of the paucity of the time। जो मुझे कहा गया था कि जो लड़की के बारे में जो हिंदू सक्सेशन एक्ट में 9 सितंबर 2005 के बाद में जो अमेंडमेंट आया है उसके बारे में मैं कुछ डिटेल में डिस्कशन करूं। See, this act came into force from the 9th September 2005. The government of India has issued notification to this effect, where the Hindu Succession Act is to remove gender discriminatory provisions of the Hindu Succession Act। मतलब 9/9/2005 के पहले हम लोग पहले सन की बात कर रहे थे। If there is a son in the family, then he become the member or the co-partners of the HUF. Now there is no definition of son, now there is called a child। अगर आपका child है, either he or she will be a son or a daughter, then they become the member or the co-partners of the HUF। The first thing is that the daughter of a co-partner shall by birth become a co-partner in her own right in the same manner as the son। मतलब एक लड़के का जितना राइट है उसके फादर के एचयूएफ में, उतना ही राइट उस लड़की का उसके फादर के एचयूएफ में रहेगा एज अ को-पार्टनर। The daughter can be a co-partner in the HUF of the father and she will become the members of the HUF of her husband। अगर किसी 9/9/2005 के पहले किसी का एचयूएफ क्रिएट किया हुआ है और 9/9/2005 के पहले लड़की का बर्थ हुआ है, या तो फादर का बर्थ भी नेचुरली 9/9/2005 के पहले हुआ है और 9/9/2005 के पहले एचयूएफ क्रिएट हुआ है, चाहे लड़की का बर्थ 2005 के पहले हुआ है या उसके बाद में हुआ है, she will become the co-partner of the HUF of the father। So the daughter has the same right in the co-partner property as she would have had if she had been a son। मतलब जितना लड़के का राइट है इतना ही लड़की का राइट फादर के एचयूएफ में रहेगा। The third point is the daughter shall be subject to the same liability in the said co-partner property as that of a son। and any reference to a Hindu Mitakshara co-partner shall be deemed to include a reference of a daughter of a co-partner. इसका मतलब यही सेम है कि जितना लड़के का राइट्स है इतना ही लड़की को राइट्स मिलेगा और इतना ही लड़की का राइट्स रहेगा आफ्टर 9/9/2005. The daughter will have an equal share as it is available to the son. मतलब जितना आपके लड़के का राइट्स है इतना ही राइट्स लड़की का HUF में रहेगा. The share of a predeceased son or a predeceased daughter shall be allotted to the surviving child of such predeceased son or a daughter. अगर लड़का या लड़की उसकी डेथ जिसका HUF जो है जो करता है उसके पहले हो जाती है तो उनके जो चिल्ड्रन है उनके जो बालक है उनका उतना ही राइट्स रहेगा जितने उनके फादर या मदर का उस HUF में रहेगा. So after the commencement of the Hindu Succession Act 2005, now no court shall recognize any rights to proceeds against a son or a grandson or a great any debt due to his father, grandfather or great grandfather solely on the ground that prior obligations under the Hindu law is that he is such a grandson or a son or a grandson of any particular person. अगर हम एक ट्री की बात करें तो फादर के HUF में कौन कौन आएगा? तो एक फादर आएगा मिस्टर ए, उसके बाद में उसका सन आएगा दैट इज द सेकंड जनरेशन, उसके बाद में थर्ड जनरेशन उसका ग्रैंडसन आएगा, फोर्थ आएगा उसका ग्रेट ग्रैंडसन. ये चार जो है वो HUF में दे आर बिकम आइदर द मेंबर और द को पार्टनर्स इन द HUF. उसके बाद की जनरेशन जो है उसका HUF में कोई राइट्स रहेगा नहीं. They will not be considered as far as the either the member or the co-partners in the HUF of the particular person. If father is alive और second जो generation है उसका son, if he predeceased, या तो third generation great grandson predeceased, या तो fourth generation great grandson also predeceased. Then अगर फादर हयात है, फादर इज अलाइव और उसका लड़के की डेथ हो जाती है, उसके ग्रेट ग्रैंडसन की भी डेथ हो जाती है, बट इफ द फादर इज अलाइव देन द फिफ्थ जनरेशन द ग्रेट ग्रेट ग्रैंडसन will not become the members of the HUF. They will not get any share as a HUF as far as the person's HUF is concerned, when their great grandfather's HUF is concerned. There is a misconception that the great great grandson, if the father expires, then the great great son will also become the members of the HUF. Now, whether after 9/9/2005, whether the daughter can have the rights in both the HUF, that is in the father's HUF and in the husband's HUF, yes, definitely. The daughter will have a right in the HUF of her father as a co-partners and as a member of her husband, whether she is married or unmarried. If she is unmarried, then only she becomes the co-partner in the HUF. Now, supposing if there is a partition, if daughter goes for the partitions of the HUF, see there are different connotation as far as partition is concerned under the HUF. I will come later what is the partition and what is the family arrangement. But if the daughter goes for the partition, then daughter can have an equal share in the partitions as far as her rights in the property of the father is concerned. Meaning thereby, if the daughter goes for the partition, she gets the equal share in the partitions of the father as far as her rights is concerned. Now, who become the karta of the HUF? Normally, the eldest person become the karta of the HUF. The person who has created the HUF, he becomes the karta of the HUF. Now, it is not necessary that every time the eldest person of the family becomes the karta of the HUF. If all the members coming together and decide unanimously to appoint some other person other than the eldest person to become the karta of the HUF, then he can become the karta of HUF as far as this eldestness is concerned. But the normal principle is that the person who is eldest in the particular HUF, he becomes the karta of the HUF. Now, when there is a minor child, If there is no other person is there and the minor child is there, then the daughter or the widow of the son is there and the minor child is there, then who can become the karta? In that situation, because naturally the daughter-in-law cannot become the co-partners or the members of the HUF, then in such scenario, then the daughter-in-law can become the manager or the guardian of that particular minor child as far as karta or the handling of the HUF is concerned. Now coming back to the HUF as far as income tax provisions are concerned, if we come to the income tax provision under the Income Tax Act, HUF has got altogether a separate different entity, meaning thereby the HUF, those who are governed under the Hindu law, they can become the rights as far as their individual capacity is concerned, and they are having the HUF capacity is concerned. Means they can enjoy both the rights as an individual and as an HUF. The person who is filing the return of income under the HUF, the first and foremost thing is that he must have in possession of the PAN card. Now, as far as PAN card of the HUF is concerned, there are two ways under the Income Tax Act. See, there are a different connotation as far as Hindu law is concerned, Hindu Succession Act is concerned, and Hindu Inheritance Act is concerned. But as far as income tax is concerned, when you go to apply for the PAN card, you must have the HUF deed. Either it is created through the will or it is created by way of a gift. So once you apply for the PAN card, you are required to attach or submit the copy of the HUF gift deed. Where gift deed, it is always advisable to take the signature of donor and donee both. Sometimes what happens in the HUF deed, normally the people are not taking the signature of the donee, means the person whose HUF you have given the gift. You are only making the signature of the donor. When we execute a HUF gift deed, you are required to mention the details, name and date of birth of the person whose HUF you are giving a gift. For example, some stranger is giving a gift to Mr. A for creating his HUF. He has to mention in the gift deed that this amount of 50,000 rupees, let us say, I am giving by an account check for as a gift to Mr. A HUF. Now, if HUF word is not mentioned, then definitely it will not be considered as a gift deed given to, or a gift given to the HUF, and it will be considered as a gift given to the individual. Then there will not be a creation of a genuine HUF. Now, whenever you are giving a gift, then the gift should be genuine and reasonable. You should create and prepare a gift deed where the donor and donee's identity is also required to be given. Always try to put or affix a photographs and the ID book of the donor who is giving you the gift. Otherwise, now there may be a chances of attracting the provision of section 68 and 69 and 115 BE, where you will have to pay a very higher rate of tax if you are not in a position to establish the genuineness of the gift. Because ultimately, the gift, if you are getting in excess of rupees 50,000, it will be considered as a taxable under section 56 subsection 2 of the Income Tax Act. Normally, the people are doing that, they are taking a gift of a smaller amount. Let us say they are taking a gift of a 10,000, 25,000 or 50,000. Let us say below 2,50,000 rupees. What, in my personal view, that we are required to take a gift of more than rupees 2,50,000, that is your basic exemption limit. When you are getting a gift of more than rupees 2,50,000, naturally in any case you will file an income tax return as far as HUF is concerned. Now, to open the PAN card, as I have stated, you will have to attach this copy of the gift deed for the creation of the HUF. Then the form number 49A, in which you will have to make an application, you will have to, the karta has to sign in the appropriate at the appropriate places. जहां पर आपको एक राउंड सील लगाना है या तो एक रबर स्टैंप लगाना है जिसमें लिखा होगा कि सो एंड सो HUF कर्ता और ऑथोराइज सिग्नेचरी, ये स्टैंप में होना बहुत जरूरी है। ये दो चीज, और गिफ्ट डीड में जिस HUF को गिफ्ट दी गई है जिस फैमिली को, उस फैमिली के सभी के नाम, अगर 2 मेंबर है, 3 मेंबर है, 4 मेंबर है, सभी के नाम और डेट ऑफ बर्थ लिखना बहुत ही एडवाइजेबल है और जरूरी है। मैंने मेरे जो गिफ्ट डीड का फॉर्मेट दिया हुआ है इसमें इस सारी चीजों का ध्यान रखा गया है, वो आप अगर रिफर करें देन यू विल बी एबल टू नो दैट हाउ टू क्रिएट अ गिफ्ट डीड एज फार एज एचयूएफ इज कंसर्न। आप पैन कार्ड लेते हो तो एचयूएफ में जैसे अपना इंडिविजुअल होता है तो अपना सरनेम आता है और आगे पी आता है, फॉर्म में एफ आता है, ऐसे एचयूएफ में एच आता है और कर्ता का जो नाम होता है उसके नाम का पैन कार्ड बनता है। देन व्हेन देयर इज अ इनकम टैक्स देन यू विल हैव टू फाइल इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न अंडर द हेड एचयूएफ। जिस तरह से इंडिविजुअल को बेसिक एग्जम्पशन लिमिट का बेनिफिट मिलता है उसी तरह से एचयूएफ को भी बेसिक एग्जम्पशन लिमिट का बेनिफिट मिलता है, जो फिलहाल अभी जो 2.5 लाख का लिमिट है वो मिलता है। उसके अलावा एचयूएफ को चैप्टर 6A का डिडक्शन भी मिलता है। सभी डिडक्शंस नहीं मिलते हैं लेकिन कुछ डिडक्शन जैसे 80C है, 80D है, 80DD है, 80G है, 80I है, ये सारे डिडक्शंस भी एचयूएफ को मिलते हैं। मेरे प्रेजेंटेशंस में ये सारी चीजें लिखी हुई है कौन सा डिडक्शंस एचयूएफ को मिलता है। When we are filing income tax return, if the HUF is having a business income and if the turnover exceeds the prescribed limit as the case may be, तो उसको ऑडिट कराना भी जरूरी है, वो ऑडिट रिपोर्ट भी उसको अपलोड करना जरूरी रहेगा। There is a separate legal assessment, individual income tax assessment रहेगा HUF का, और अगर रिटर्न लेट भरते हैं तो जो पेनल्टी लगती है 234F में 1000, 5000, 10,000 एज द केस में भी, वो सारी पेनल्टी भी एचयूएफ में लगेगी। नाउ कमिंग बैक टू दी डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ द एचयूएफ, ये सारी चीजें जो बेसिक थी वो जो मैंने आपको बताई है, उसके बाद में व्हाट इज द डिस्क्रिप्शंस और डिस्क्रिमिनेशंस बिटवीन द को-पार्टनर्स, मेंबर्स, द पार्शियल पार्टीशंस, फुल पार्टीशंस, फैमिली अरेंजमेंट्स, उसके बारे में थोड़ा डिस्कशन कर ले। And then after the time permits, we will take up the question answers. And then after, if the time again permits, I will take some more aspects as far as the details of the HUF is concerned. Now, अगर एक HUF है तो उसकी अगर ज्यादा branches of HUF हो सकती है या नहीं हो सकती? The question comes that when there is a once HUF, then there can be other branches of HUF or not. Now, HUF definitely can have a separate branches or several branches or sub branches. उदाहरण के तौर पर लीजिए कि अगर एक व्यक्ति है, he is having a wife and a son, और उनको 2 लड़के हैं। Now they constitute a HUF, उन्होंने एक HUF बनाया है। अगर now उसका जो लड़का है, if he is also married and he is having a wife and children also, उसको लड़का है, वो शादीशुदा है, उसकी भी बीवी है और उसके भी बच्चे हैं, they can also constitute a smaller HUF। तो फादर का भी HUF रहेगा, फादर के HUF में सन एज अ मेंबर या को-पार्टनर रहेगा। Son can also create his own HUF, that is a smaller HUF, where his son, where his wife can become the members of the HUF. If he is also having the grandson, then grandson वो भी शादीशुदा है, उसके भी बच्चे हैं, then he can also constitute a smaller HUF or a sub branch HUF. As I have stated, the HUF is created as a, in fact, by Hindu law, and as far as the income tax is concerned, income tax it comes either through the by act, either through the will or by the gift. So you can have a different smaller HUF also. You can have a larger branch of families, then you can have the smaller branches of the HUF. Now this is also held acceptable by the various decisions of the court. Now, as I have stated that you can have a different and a sub branches of the property, the HUF. Now, as we have discussed that there should be an ancestral property. Now, if we come with the joint family property of the HUF, there are different kinds of the HUF. Now, the joint family property, there are certain types of the property which is called a joint property. The first property comes the ancestral property. अगर कोई वारसागत property है हमारी, that is called the ancestral property. Then property allotted on partition. अगर partition होता है और कोई property का distribution होता है. And third is the property acquired with the aid of the joint family property. जो हमारी joint property है, उसके सहियारे और उसके संयुक्त प्रयास से अगर कोई property acquired की है, these all are the 3 ingredients or 3 criteria where they comes under the joint family property. Fourth property भी है, a separate property of a co-partner blended with or thrown into a common family hodgepodge. मतलब अगर सेपरेट कोई प्रॉपर्टी है को पार्टनर्स की, जो को पार्टनर्स है एचयूएफ के, उनकी खुद की प्रॉपर्टी अगर कुछ है और वो अगर एक कॉमन एचयूएफ में लाई जाती है, कॉमन फैमिली हॉटस्पॉट में, कॉमन फैमिली संयुक्त व्यवस्था में लाई जाती है, तो वो भी ज्वाइंट फैमिली प्रॉपर्टी में गिनी जाएगी. Now, as far as the provision of Section 64, subsection 2 of the Income Tax Act is concerned, this has superseded principles of the Hindu law. उसने ये हिंदू लॉ, as I have stated, Hindu law is a different connotation, Income Tax Act is a different connotation. Now, in case where अगर co-partner है, वो अगर he impresses his property within the character of the joint family property, then there will be attractions of Section 64, subsection 2 of the Income Tax Act. अगर कोई फीमेल मेंबर है तो फीमेल मेंबर कैन नॉट ब्लेंड हर प्रॉपर्टी विद अ जॉइंट फैमिली प्रॉपर्टी. अगर कोई फीमेल मेंबर है तो वो उनकी प्रॉपर्टी जॉइंट फैमिली के अंदर ब्लेंड नहीं कर सकती है, ला नहीं सकती है. डेफिनेटली शी कैन मेक अ गिफ्ट टू द एचयूएफ. वो एचयूएफ को 100% गिफ्ट कर सकती है, गिफ्ट दे सकती है, लेकिन वो प्रॉपर्टी ला नहीं सकती. Now, what do you call by the ancestral property? Ancestral property हम किसको कहेंगे? Now, all the property which are been inherited by a male Hindu from his father, father's father, that is the grandfather, or father's father's father, great grandfather. जैसे चार नीचे की साइड आए, जैसे फादर है, सन है, ग्रैंडसन है, ग्रेट ग्रैंडसन है, उसी तरह से ऊपर भी ये जाएंगे जिसमें फादर है, ग्रैंडफादर है, ग्रेट ग्रैंडफादर है. इफ दिस 3 जनरेशंस गोज अप, ये 3 पीढ़ी अगर ऊपर जाती है और उसके पास से कोई प्रॉपर्टी मिलती है, इट इज कॉल्ड द प्रॉपर्टी इनहेरिटेड एंड इट इज कॉल्ड द एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी. इसका एक एसेंशियल फीचर्स क्या है कि अगर विताक्षरा लॉ की बात करें तो सन जो है या तो ग्रैंडसन है या तो ग्रेट ग्रैंडसन है, who inherits it, acquire as an interest and the rights attached to that property, then it becomes the property which has been ancestral property. मतलब अगर दादा की प्रॉपर्टी है, दादा के दादा की प्रॉपर्टी, दादा के दादा की दादा की प्रॉपर्टी है, if the 3 generations upwards, 3 generations downwards, मतलब 4 स्टेज के अगर अंदर है, then it will be considered as the ancestral property और वो प्रॉपर्टी एचयूएफ के अंदर डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होगी. Now, as far as different FAQs are concerned, एक ancestral property के साथ में एक और जुड़ भी ले लेते हैं, partition of HUF ले लेते हैं. What is to be a partition of HUF? Then we will come to the FAQs as far as the different questions are concerned. Now, what is partition as far as HUF is concerned? To divide and distribute assets or the property amongst the member of the family is called partition. मतलब प्रॉपर्टी जो पार्टीशन अगर करते हैं और उसका मेंबर के बीच में या तो को पार्टनर्स के बीच में अगर पार्टीशन किया जाता है, तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया जाता है, then it is called a partition. एक सवाल इनकम टैक्स के कैनोटेशन में ये आता है कि हमको क्या करना चाहिए अगर इनकम टैक्स में एचयूएफ की प्रॉपर्टी, एचयूएफ की जो इनकम होती है, वो एचयूएफ की इनकम जो एक्यूमुलेट होती है उसको हमको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना चाहिए या एचयूएफ में एक्यूमुलेट करना चाहिए. अगर एचयूएफ, नॉर्मली हम लोग एचयूएफ जो करते हैं वो एक टैक्स प्लानिंग पर्पस से ही करते हैं. एचयूएफ के केस में हमको रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस भी देखना है. द कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट ऑफ द अफेयर्स ऑफ द एचयूएफ, वो जहां से किया जाएगा वहां से उसका एचयूएफ का स्टेटस गिना जाएगा या उस तरह से कैलकुलेट किया जाएगा. इफ यू रिफर सेक्शन 6 ऑफ द इनकम टैक्स एक्ट अबाउट द रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस, the control and management of the affairs of the HUF, मगर कर्ता जहां पर है, from where he controls and manage the affairs of the HUF, that becomes the status of the HUF. तो HUF नॉन रेसिडेंट भी हो सकता है, HUF ऑर्डिनरी नॉट ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट भी हो सकता है. Now as far as tax planning of the HUF is concerned, ये HUF में जो इनकम होती है उसके ऊपर टैक्स जो है वो कर्ता भरता है और कर्ता पे करता है, कर्ता इनकम टैक्स का रिटर्न भरता है, उसके ऊपर टैक्स भरा जाता है. उसकी जो इनकम होती है अगर वो मेंबर्स के बीच में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो जाती है, then it is exempt in the hands of the members of the HUF under section 10 subsection 2 of the income tax act. लेकिन जो एक्यूमुलेट इनकम हो चुकी है, पिछले वर्षों की एक्यूमुलेट इनकम है जो कॉर्पस में जमा हो चुकी है, उसको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे then there will be a tax liability in the hands of the particular persons or the members of the HUF subject to certain restriction. लेकिन एडवाइजेबल ये रहेगा कि अगर HUF की इनकम है और वही करंट इनकम आप उसी साल में आप सभी मेंबर्स के बीच में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर देते हैं, then it will not be taxable in the hands of the members as far as that particular year is concerned. अब इस मेंबर्स को जो इनकम अर्न हुई है वो तो कर्ता के कॉर्पस में चलेगी, कर्ता के नाम पर चलेगी और रिटर्न फाइल हो गया। अब जो प्रॉफिट जो हुआ है या तो जो इनकम जनरेट एक्यूमुलेट हुई है उस साल की, करंट साल की, उसको कौन से शेयर में मेंबर्स के बीच में या को पार्टनर्स के बीच में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करनी है। नॉर्मली इट गोज और इट डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड ऑन द इक्वल प्रोपोर्शन, लेकिन अगर सारे मेंबर्स इकट्ठा होके अगर उसको अनइक्वल प्रोपोर्शन में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना चाहे तो वो अनइक्वल प्रोपोर्शन में सभी मेंबर्स के बीच में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं। एज द शेयर रिसीव्ड बाय द मेंबर इज एग्जेम्प्ट फ्रॉम टैक्स, वो इक्वल प्रोपोर्शन या अनइक्वल प्रोपोर्शन में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं। लेकिन जब भी ये अनइक्वल प्रोपोर्शन में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करे या तो इक्वल प्रोपोर्शन में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करे, whenever you are distributing the income of the current year among the members of the HUF, it is always advisable to prepare a memorandum of understanding among the members of the HUF that this year income which we have earned, we are distributing in the following proportions as unanimously decided among the members of the HUF. अगर इसमें कोई माइनर है तो क्या संजोग बनेगा? Because minor के केस में it is always advisable. Definitely you can also distribute the income in the hands of the minor subject to the clubbing provisions in the hands, though it is not liable to be taxed, but it is required to be shown in the income of the parent whosoever income is higher as far as clubbing provision is concerned. But it is always advisable that whenever there is a minor, then the share of minor in that particular current year's income is required to be kept intact till he attains the age of the majority. It is always advisable. Definitely you can distribute it to the minors also, but it is always advisable to accumulate that share of the minor till he attains the age of majority. Now the second question comes about the partition of HUF. As I have stated, to divide and distribute assets or the property among the members of the family is called partition. Now it has to be total by mids and bound. ये आप अंदर नक्की करके unanimously आप decide कर सकते हैं. It can be oral also. There is no requirements of the writing or written agreement, but always it is advisable, as we have already stated, as far as law is concerned, you are required to execute this distribution or a partition in writing. Now, as far as partition is concerned, we will have to refer section 171 of the Income Tax Act. As far as section 171 of the Income Tax Act is concerned, it deals with the assessment of an HUF. Now, if you see that after partition, when there is a assessment of the HUF, the clause A of section 171 defines the partition of an HUF, where the property admits of a physical division, then a physical division of the property thereof should be the partition of the particular property. मतलब अगर कोई प्रॉपर्टी का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होता है या डिवीजन होता है, it falls under section 171 sub clause A of the Income Tax Act. However, the members of an HUF can live separately, and such an act would not automatically amount to be a partition of the HUF. It is not necessary that the members of the HUF can live and stay together. If they are staying in a different premises, in a different connotations, in a different ideology, then also there will be a continuous HUF. There will not be a partition of the HUF. As far as finding of the partition of HUF is concerned, now section 171 subsection 9 that talks about the partial partition of the HUF that has been reorganized as far as the provisions of section 171 subsection 9 is concerned. Now any partial partition effected after 31st December 1978 is not recognized. So before 31st December 1978, the partial partition is recognized. After that, it is not recognized. Now, as far as I have stated, the male members are lineally descendant as far as mother, wife, unmarried daughter, unmarried son, married daughter, and married sons are concerned, they are considered to be the member. Even the stranger also can be introduced in the HUF only by the adoption only. You can have the member as far as adoption is concerned. The stranger can also become the introduced as a member in the HUF. Now, normally, what is the distinction of the co-partners and the member? See, as far as the members are concerned, they cannot go for the partition. They cannot claim the partition. Only the co-partner can claim for the partition. There is a distinction. That is a basic distinction between the co-partners and the member. Now, as far as HUF is concerned, now there is a large number of members that are including female members also as far as distinct blood relations are concerned or the other distinct blood relations are concerned. Now, only male and females who are within 4 degrees, as I have stated, son, grandson, great-grandson, great-great-grandson, and daughter. As far as daughter side is concerned, only a daughter. We cannot have a great-granddaughter or a granddaughter or a great-great-granddaughter. As far as son is concerned, we have a 4 degree as far as lineal descendants are concerned. As far as daughter is concerned, we will have only a single descendant, that is only a daughter. The daughter can become the co-partner as far as the partition is concerned, and she can also go for the partition as a co-partner. So co-partner has a right to go for the partition. The members have no right to go for the partition. Now, the other family members other than co-partners in the HUF, they have no rights to claim over the HUF property, but they can only claim their rights through the co-partners only. The members have directly no rights as far as the HUF property is concerned. Now, as far as rights and liabilities of the member of the HUF is concerned, let us take hurriedly the details of the rights and liabilities of the members as specified in the Hindu law, and then after the codified law. Now the law has been codified. Earlier it was not codified, but now certain aspects of the laws are codified. The various members of the families are having rights. Now what are these rights? Now the first rights of the co-partner is, the basic right is they can go and entitle for the demand of the partition. Now besides the co-partner, the Hindu widow under the Hindu Women's Right to Property Act 1937 are also entitled to demand for the partition just as her husbands would have done. मतलब जितना पति का राइट्स है पार्टीशन में, उतना एक विधवा का भी राइट्स है अंडर द हिंदू वीमेन्स राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी एक्ट 1937 फॉर द पार्टीशन. Again, the matter is really disputed. The legal implications are definitely there, but the law says that she can also go for the partition. The second rights and duties of the members are, the members of the HUF, which includes male and female members, daughters and children of the male members, are entitled for the maintenance. Now they are entitled for the maintenance. वो लोग अपने भरण पोषण का दावा भी कर सकते हैं, maintenance. Now what is maintenance? The maintenance includes food, खाने का, shelter, रहने का, clothing, पहनने का, education, पढ़ाई लिखाई, medical, जो बीमारी की सारवार है वो, and the marriage. These are the rights of the members of the HUF that they can demand from the HUF. The third, the members of the HUF is entitled to own and possess his separate property besides his interest in the HUF property. If I am a member of the HUF, then it is I have a separate legal entity as a member of the HUF. I have my own different legal, local standing as far as my individual rights are concerned. The fourth is, the widow and children of a deceased co-partner have a right to be maintained out of the HUF property and are also entitled to demand partition. Meaning thereby, लड़के की पत्नी है जो विधवा है, लड़का प्री डिसीज्ड है या तो लड़की की डेथ हो चुकी है और उसके बच्चे हैं, of a deceased co-partner have a right to be maintained out of the HUF family. He can become the member of the HUF and they can have a right to call for and get the maintenance from that particular HUF property. If a co-partner or other family members convert himself into any other religion like Islam or Christianity, if they are transferring from Hindu to other religion, then they cease to be the members of the family and they cannot join the status. Vice versa. If somebody converts from the other religion to the Hindu religion, they can enjoy their rights as a Hindu undivided family. A co-partner or a member may enter into a partnership with Karta of HUF bringing his capital or even without bringing capital, not contributing skill or labor. Now, there are certain common questions. The one question which is normally comes in our mind is that whether the Karta can become the partner in the particular partnership firm or not. See, there are different FAQs or different questions as far as HUF is concerned. The basic question which has been put forward before me earlier is that whether the Karta can become the partner in the HUF or not. See, as far as Karta, he can definitely become the partner in the HUF, but whatever amount he is receiving, it will be under the capacity of an individual, not under the capacity of HUF. So, if Karta or the Karta of the HUF, that particular person is getting remuneration for the sake of the understanding, then that remuneration is income in the hands of the individual of that Karta. It will not be considered as a HUF. It will not be considered the income as a HUF or the Karta of the HUF. It will be added in the income of that particular person under the individual capacity. Now, the second aspect which comes into the mind, that what will be the case in what will be the position in the case of the partnership firm. If the partnership firm has given the remuneration to the Karta of HUF, let us assume that situation, that in that case, whether that remuneration is allowable under section 40B of the Income Tax Act as far as firm's assessment is concerned or not. Definitely, it will be allowable as an expenditure under section 40B of the Income Tax Act as far as remuneration given by the firm to the Karta of the HUF. We have so many decisions on this aspect. Again, this matter is really debatable and the legal connotations are also there. But I have taken so many decisions on this aspect wherein the court has again held that in the case of the firm, definitely this is an allowable expenditure. Even in the case of the individual, it will be added in the hands of the individual, not as a Karta of HUF. The third aspect from this is, if the HUF has given as a partner has given or introduced certain capital into the firm, the interest received from that capital will be considered as the income of the HUF or not. As far as the judicial decisions are concerned, the law applies and the different connotations are concerned. When the interest is given on the capital introduced from the fund of the HUF legitimate fund, then definitely it will be considered as the income of the HUF and it will be taxed under the head HUF in the hands of the Karta as the fund of the HUF, and it will be allowable as an expenditure in the hands of the particular partnership firm. But the strict construed meaning is that definitely the Karta is not entitled to get the remuneration, or he cannot join as a partner as far as Karta's capacity is concerned. The same is the case with LLP also, where the Karta cannot join as a partner or as a member of that particular LLP. The MCA guideline is there. We have a circular of the MCA and we have a decisions of the Delhi High Court on that aspect, which I have covered as far as my paper book is concerned. Now, the another question is that whether any monetary gift received by an individual or undivided family is taxable. As I have stated, any gift which has been received in excess of rupees 50,000 will be taxable in the hands of the HUF. If HUF is not having any income, then they will get the benefit of basic exemption limit of rupees 2,50,000. But it is always advisable to take a gift of more than rupees 2,50,000 and show some amount as a taxable amount, calculate tax on it. If you are in a better position to calculate any other, pay some tax and get the benefit. But all gift is required to be taken by an account fee check only. Now, is there any cases in which the sum of money received without consideration, that is monetary gift received by an individual HUF, is not charged to tax? Now, if any gift which has been received by the person from a relative, now who are called the relatives of that particular person? Now, the relatives are the spouse of the individual, then the brother or a sister of an individual, brother and a sister of the spouse of the individual, brother and sisters of the either of the parents of the individual. Then you can have any lineal ascendant or descendant of the individual, any lineal ascendant or descendant of the spouse of the individual. These all are called the relatives. If any gift received from these relatives, they are considered to be a blood related person. It will not be considered as a taxable. Any money received by a HUF from its member, it is not taxable. Then money received on the occasion of the marriage of the individual, it is not taxable as far as HUF is concerned. Money received under the will or inheritance is concerned, it is not taxable. Then money received in contemplation of death of the payer of a donor, अगर किसी की मृत्यु हो जाती है और उसके मृत्यु के पश्चात उसको इस लीगल एज के तौर पे उसको अमाउंट मिलती है as a legal heirs or as a member of the HUF, then it will not be considered as far as taxable in the hands of the particular person. Then apart from the marriage, ऐसा कोई ऐसा occasion है कि जिसमें कोई monetary gift मिले individual को and it will not be charged as a tax. Now, gift received only on the occasion of the marriage of an individual is not charged to tax. Apart from marriage, as far as HUF is concerned, there is no other occasion where the gift is received by an individual is not charged to tax. And gift received on the occasion of like birthday or any anniversary or any festival, it will be charged as a taxable. Now, as far as gift received from the friend, those who are not the blood related person, that will be taxable in the hands of the person. If it is less than 50,000, then definitely it is not taxable. But if it is more than 50,000, then in that particular year, definitely it will be a taxable. Then the last two aspects as far as the gift is concerned are gift of an immovable property received by an individual or HUF are charged to tax. Now, if the certain conditions are satisfied, then immovable property received by an individual or an HUF will be charged to tax. Number one, the immovable property being land or building or both received by an individual or HUF. The immovable property is received without consideration. This is received as a gift or for a consideration which is less than the stamp duty value of the property, that is the circle rate or the jantri value, by an amount exceeding 50,000 से ज़्यादा है. The immovable property is a capital assets within the meaning of section 2 subsection 14 of the Income Tax Act, or the stamp duty value of such immovable property received without consideration is exceeding 50,000 rupees, then that particular 50,000 or more than that amount will be considered as a taxable gift. Then there are other aspects as far as the gift is concerned. अगर अलग-अलग व्यक्ति के पास से भी मिली है, then the aggregate value is exceeding 50,000, then it will be considered as a taxable gift. Then one more question which has been posed before me is, an individual received a gift of a flat from his friend. Now the stamp duty of the flat is 84,000 rupees, and in this case where the total value of gifted property will be charged to tax, only on the value of the excess 50,000 will be charged to tax. Now in this scenario, once the taxable liability is extracted, it is more than 50,000, then in this case entire value, once the money exceeding 50,000 rupees, you cannot get the benefit of deduction of rupees 50,000 rupees. You will have to pay the tax on the entire amount of this 84,000 or whatever amount in excess of 50,000 rupees. Then if the immovable property received by an individual or HUF for less than stamp duty value is not, is again charged to tax. Section 50C will also attract, and it is chargeable to tax as far as the Income Tax Act is concerned. It will be considered as a taxable in the hands of the recipient under the income from other sources. Now, in case where the value of prescribed movable property received without consideration, then this received gift will be taxable or not. As I have stated, it will be considered as a taxable in the hands of the recipient. Now, there are two more aspects. that an individual received a gift of jewelry from his friend. The total value of the jewelry received during the year as a gift from all the friends is amounted to rupees 1 lakh. Now, what will be the treatment of that particular amount? As I have stated, whatever amount, whether it is a kind or a cash, if it is more than 50,000 rupees, the entire amount will be considered as a taxable in the hands of the recipient, and it will be considered as an income from other sources. Now, whether the junior member can become Karta of HUF, as I have stated, normally the eldest person of the family can become the Karta of HUF. However, if the other members are agree to the proposition and if they unanimously decide, then definitely the junior member can also become the Karta of HUF. The particular question which has been posed before me was that my father is a Karta of HUF which has been in operation for a few decades. He is 83 years old. In view of his old age, can he transfer the Kartaship to me? I am 31-year-old, married with a child. What is the procedure for the same? Should this be declared to the IT authorities, and how do I get a new PAN? Should the old PAN be cancelled? My child is a 1-month-old child. Should addition of member in the HUF be declared to the IT authority? एक ही सवाल में 4-5 और सवाल उन्होंने कवर किए हैं. उनके फादर की एज है 83 इयर्स और उनका ऐसा कहना है कि he wants to transfer the Kartaship to me. I am a 31-year-old. Now, definitely, the senior most or the eldest person can become the Karta of the HUF. But the position is that if all the members of the co-partners are agrees, then definitely a junior member can become the Karta of the HUF. The manager, if he can manage the act and the income of the HUF, he can definitely become the Karta of the HUF. There is a decision of the Virendra Kumar Modi. I have given the citation in my paper, which has been circulated to you, which will be circulated to you rather. Therefore, in case you can become the Karta, but before that, it is better that you get an agreement signed amongst the HUF member, stating that your father, owing to his age, is passing on Kartaship to you, and that other members are agreeing to it. Meaning thereby, अगर बाकी सारे members की agree है कि ये junior member को या किसी और member को father की जगह कर्ता बनाना है, then there will be an agreement whereby every member and the co-partners are required to be signed that we do not have any objection or a problem, and unanimously we are giving consent to appoint this person as a Karta of the HUF. और ये agreement बनाना जरूरी है. जो आपने income tax के बारे में सवाल पूछा था कि ये उसमें कोई बड़ा impact नहीं होगा एक बार अगर आपका ये HUF का status कर्ता का status change होता है. If the income is always assessed under the head of the HUF, that is the status of the HUF. हाँ, आपको वो return of sign करना है as a Karta of HUF, आपके father आप sign नहीं करेंगे. Then what you should do? You should inform to the jurisdictional AO on by writing a letter that now you are become the Karta of the HUF. You will have to enclose and attach that copy where the other members are also agreeing and they are signing that yes, they are accepting you as the Karta of the HUF. With the application, you attach that particular copy of the agreement where the other members of the co-partners are agreeing to that, and definitely you can sign the HUF return. There will not be a difference as far as the HUF taxability is concerned. This is not compulsory. You can definitely inform to the income tax authority, and it is always advisable to inform to the income tax authority. Along with the jurisdictional income tax authority, it is equally important to inform to the CPC also where the original PAN was obtained, because at the time the original PAN was obtained, it was signed by the XYZ Karta of that particular HUF. Now, when you are becoming the Karta of the HUF, and henceforth you will be signing all the future or the further communication, correspondence, or filing the return by your signature, you will have to intimate to the CPC Bengaluru where this all PAN are processing. You will have to intimate that now you are becoming the Karta of the HUF, and necessary amendments in the PAN card or the record of that particular CPC is required to be amended. The other question which has been posed before me was that one male member enough for HUF. Definitely the one male member is definitely enough for the HUF. The question further says that whether a person with a wife and two daughters only can have HUF. मतलब एक HUF ऐसा है कि जिसमें पत्नी है और दो डॉटर है. The first question is that the only one male member is suffice to form an HUF is now legally well settled. Now, as per the decisions of the Supreme Court, only one male member. There should be a two member as far as creation and formation of the HUF for income tax person concern is concerned. But the one male member is required. You can have one male and one female also, but only one male member is suffice to form an HUF. And HUF is no different than a joint property. The concept of HUF is again as simple is very simple. Now the exception is that Hindu undivided family in the Income Tax Act is same as a joint family which may consist of a single male member and a widow of a deceased of the male member. Now in one of the case in the Bombay High Court, what it was held that the property does not lose its character merely because at one point of time there was only one male member on only one co-pass. See, if there are two members in the HUF and only one member expires, then with the one member in the HUF also, the HUF can continue the operations. Then there will not be a dissolution as far as the decisions of the court is concerned. Now, in this given case, the SSC was a doctor by profession and assessable in the hand as an individual. The SSC was a member of the bigger Hindu undivided family, which was partitioned on January 1972, prior to 1978. Now, at the time of the partition and right up to 1980, after 78, the SSC was a bachelor. He was not a married. Now, during all these years, the income from assets on partition was assessed his hand as an individual. मतलब 72 से लेकर 1980 तक ये सारी इनकम जो पार्टीशन में उनको एसेट्स की HUF थी वो इंडिविजुअल कैपेसिटी में एसेस्ड हो गई. Now in 1980 this particular doctor becomes married. Now he claimed that income from the assets received on partition is now accessible in the status of the HUF. Though in 1972 he was a bachelor, till 1980 he was bachelor. Now in 1980 he becomes the married. Now the income which he received or the assets in partition which he receives prior to he becomes the married, now this income is required to be assessed under the Hindu undivided family consisting of his wife and his himself. So that the decisions referred by the SSC were considered in the judgment of some other high court. So therefore he rejected the applications of the SSC and continued to assess him as an individual. Now in this case, the SSC had obtained his share of partition before his marriage, and on his marriage had claimed the status of HUF. His claim was rejected on the ground that until a son is born, the status of the SSC would continue to be that of an individual. However, the High Court ruled otherwise and upheld the contention of the SSC that once HUF property, it becomes always HUF property. See, this is a different analogy. So HUF is a different ball game. It is required to be considered on a case to case, on a facts to facts. Not necessary that the facts of this case will apply in our client's case also. But definitely we can apply the analogy also, and we can contend it before the assessing authority in such a case where the partition of HUF take place before the marriage when the person becomes the bachelor, and after marriage if he continues this income to be taken under the banner of HUF consisting of himself and his wife, the Bombay High Court has held that yes, definitely the HUF property remains HUF property. Then it will be considered as an HUF income. Very good decision of the Bombay High Court. I have given the citations and the head notes of that particular decisions also. The next decisions which has been, the next question, the last I think question which has been given, whether a person with wife and two daughters only can have HUF. Definitely you can have a person, one member and three female member. You can definitely create an HUF. There are plethora of decisions as far as this connotation is concerned. And HUF without female, a single male co-partner without a female member does not constitute a HUF. The only way by which a single co-partner can constitute a HUF is to marry a woman. So the marriage of a woman is necessary. A single male member cannot constitute a HUF, or a HUF without a female cannot constitute an HUF. The another question is that wife in a HUF. For example, there are possibilities that Mr. A is there, Mrs. A is there, then his son is there, and his daughter are there. These four are the person in the HUF. Now, Mrs. A, that is the wife of Mr. A, is called a member only and not a co-partner. As I have stated, that wife is only a member in the HUF of the husband. She can become the co-partner in the HUF of the father. She cannot ask for the partition, but when the property is partitioned, she will get an equal share that of a co-partner. That is there. अगर प्रॉपर्टी का पार्टीशन होता है तो उसको इक्वल राइट मिलता है. Though she becoming not a co-partner, then when she is not a co-partner, then she will not become the कर्ता also. अगर वाइफ है वो एज अ मेंबर है तो वो कर्ता नहीं बन सकती है. अगर को-पार्टनर है वही HUF में कर्ता बन सकती है. As far as widow is concerned, if the minor is there as a legal guardian, as a manager, definitely she can become the manager of the karta of the HUF. Then there is a different connotation of the gift is concerned. I am not touching this portion as far as female and gift is concerned, because any gift which I have discussed in excess of 50,000 will be considered as a part of the income under their income from other sources. There are other certain aspects also, like family arrangements, family agreements, then the partial partitions, full partitions, how to create and form an HUF. There are different detailed analysis which is required as far as HUF is concerned. But because of the paucity of time, I am not discussing these entire issues, though I have covered these all aspects in my paper, which is there with you, with the organizers. These FAQs, the different FAQs also I have taken. I have taken a plethora of decisions on this aspect as far as HUF is concerned. The entire is covering in my paper book. I am thankful to the organizer for giving me this opportunity, and thanks to the participants for patient hearing. Now, if the time is there, then I am ready to give the help with the questions for 5 minutes. As I am getting the message from the National Action Committee to join in their webinar, and then after half an hour at 6:15, I will have to deliver lectures in another webinar on the different topics. Sir. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू वारिस जी, बहुत मजा आया. आपने तो बहुत डिटेल से और बड़े प्यार से समझाया, और मेरे ख्याल से जितने क्वेश्चन आने वाले थे वो तो आपने एडवांस में ही सॉल्व कर दिए.
एक्चुअली बिल्कुल वेरी करेक्ट. वन थिंग
मैं चैट बॉक्स में देख रहा था सर, चैट बॉक्स में जो क्वेश्चंस आए हैं सर, अगर आप मेरा जो पेपर है इट रन्स इनटू ऑलमोस्ट 90 पेजेस सर, and my FAQs are also there. It runs into almost 30-40 pages. This all covers the majority of the questions which are there in the chat box.
हाँ, वो मैं देखा तो चैट बॉक्स में बहुत ज्यादा कवर कर लिया आपने, और मैं चैट बॉक्स में आपकी वो पीपीटी और FAQs भी शेयर कर रहा हूँ. गांधी जी ने भी हमें ज्वाइन किया हुआ, DK गांधी जी ने भी. गांधी जी, कैन यू हियर मी?
यस यस, आई एम ऑडिबल.
आई थिंक इनका टाइम शॉर्ट है, तो
मेरे पास एक स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन है वारिस जी के लिए, बहुत छोटा सा क्वेश्चन है.
जी सर.
वारिस जी, मुझे सिर्फ एक बात बताइए कि ये जो HUF क्रिएट कर रहे हैं उसमें गिफ्ट डीड बनाना क्यों जरूरी है?
See, the HUF under the Income Tax Act can be created by the two ways, either through the will or through the gift. There are no other options as far as creating the HUF as far as Income Tax Act is concerned. We have a different connotation as far as Hindu law is concerned. लेकिन इनकम टैक्स में अगर जाएंगे, if you do not have a gift deed, then there will not be a instrument to prove and to show that how you have formed or create a HUF. So this is a supporting valid evidence of the creation of the HUF. Let us, for example, the practical difficulties, which normally I would practice on the floor level side, but what feedback I am getting from my office that when they apply for the PAN card, let us say, that's why I have taken the issue of the PAN card. The 49A form which we make the application for the PAN. Now the facilitation centers, those who are accepting this form of the 49A, when there is a HUF, they are asking that where is the HUF gift deed or of a creation of the HUF. So without that, normally practically the HUF does not come into existence for the practical aspects is concerned.
Okay.
There are law and there are decisions also where you can prove that without a gift deed also you can have a creation of the HUF. But this is
I got my answer basically. I got my answer. It is not necessary, but just for the purpose of procedural part, we are
advisable. It is advisable.
This is a floor. This is a floor where we can have to go with the basic features of the law. We cannot go because in a situation
Correct.
where you don't have a gift deed or you don't have any documents, then you might have to face certain legal consequences by way of communications or a drafting or submission of letter or some sort of a litigation,
Yes.
which at that floor level or day-to-day practice, one may not like to intertake in this particular aspects of the litigation.
Okay. Vikramji, one thing I have to add.
Sure.
What I am requesting is that today some part is left. What arrangement was Mr. He was talking about. We can have a second leg of this lecture whenever he gives us the time, or in a 5 days, 6 days after, so that we can have this.
वो हम लोग क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन करते हैं बाद में.
नहीं, not Mr. Baris Hirani was saying about arrangement part. The support part was left. So for that we can have him according to his convenience. That's my suggestion.
Yes, come by one thing.
हाँ जी, please.
One question from my side. हमने लगभग आपकी हर चीज सुनी है, बहुत ही आपने सबका जवाब भी दिया. चैट बॉक्स में भी जो चीजें आई हैं, जो प्रश्न आए हैं, मैं समझता हूं कि वो अगर पेपर बुक पढ़ लेंगे तो उनको जवाब खुद मिल जा रहा है सारा. प्रश्न सबसे बड़ी एक आती है जो थोड़ा सा कि HUF का जो फंड है हमारे पास, इसको हम कहां पर इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं, कौन सा लीगल, ये बड़ा प्रश्न बहुत ज्यादा डिबेटेबल हो जाता है कि इंडिस्पेंसेबल जो है सर्टेन अप्रूव्ड पर्पस के लिए और विद इन रीजनेबल लिमिट, दो चीजें हमें देखनी है, और इंडिस्पेंसेबल एक्ट ऑफ ड्यूटी जैसा कि बात आती है, इसको थोड़ा सा प्रैक्टिकल वे में अगर हमें नरेट करें तो इट विल बी टू यूजफुल फॉर द आवर्स.
मैं एक दो लाइन में इसको आपको बता दूं. आपका जो प्रश्न है वो बहुत ही अच्छा प्रश्न है, और अगर आप मेरा पेपर देखेंगे तो उसमें भी मैंने इसको कुछ एस्पेक्ट टच किया है, लेकिन अगर एडजस्ट हुआ और अपना अगर नेक्स्ट सेशन होता है तो डेफिनेटली इसके ऊपर मैं पूरा विस्तार से बताऊंगा. लेकिन जहां पर एक्यूमुलेशन ऑफ इनकम है, पिछला जो फंड है उसको किस तरह से यूज करने का, उसका पूरा प्रावधान इनकम टैक्स एक्ट में दिया हुआ है. और एज फार एज हिंदू लॉ इज कंसर्न और हिंदू सक्सेशन एक्ट इज कंसर्न, उसमें भी उसकी कुछ व्यवस्था दी हुई है. एज आई हैव मेंशन्ड कि अगर HUF की इनकम अच्छी है तो इट इज ऑलवेज एडवाइजेबल इन ईच एंड एवरी केस कि आप जो करंट ईयर की इनकम है वो उसी साल में आप मेंबर को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर दें. इट इज ऑलवेज एडवाइजेबल whether the income is of a smaller part or a bigger part, you will have to distribute this income amongst the members in that particular year itself, because in the first year or the current year in which the income is earned and if you are distributing to the members, then it will be exempted in the hands of the member under section 10(2) as I have stated. तो वो आपका accumulation fund भी नहीं होगा. लेकिन जहां पर इनकम ज्यादा होती है या जहां पर accumulation fund ज्यादा है, वहां उसका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कैसे करना, उसके भी काफी सारे टैक्स प्लानिंग है, और वो टैक्स प्लानिंग टूल्स अगर हम लोग यूज करेंगे देन डेफिनेटली जो पर्पस HUF का है वो सॉल्व हो जाएगा. सर आपका जो सवाल है सर, अगर अपना दूसरा कोई सेशंस नहीं भी होता है तो जो भी क्वेश्चन आंसर है जो आपके चैट बॉक्स में है और वो अगर मेरे पेपर बुक में कवर नहीं होते तो मैं विस्तार से उसको 1 by 1 आपको ईमेल को चावला साहब को आप इसको भेज दूंगा.
धन्यवाद वारिस जी, बहुत बढ़िया बताया आपने. वारिस जी, मुझे तो बस छोटी सी बात समझ आई सारे में कि जो HUF है इसके लिए इनकम टैक्स लॉ अलग है और सिविल लॉज अलग है, और कई जगह पे दोनों में क्लैश है. तो इसके इम्प्लीकेशंस बहुत है. तो जब भी हम किसी तरह की प्लानिंग करें या HUF क्रिएट कराने की कोशिश करें तो हमें दोनों चीजों का ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा. स्पेशली जो सिविल लॉज आ गए और गर्ल्स का मैरिड डॉटर्स का राइट आ गया है बीच में, तो उसके लॉन्ग टर्म सिविल इम्प्लीकेशंस बहुत ज्यादा हो सकते हैं, सोशल इम्प्लीकेशंस हो सकते हैं. तो सिर्फ टैक्स प्लानिंग की वजह से नहीं इसको क्रिएट करना चाहिए, बल्कि लॉन्ग टर्म सारा एस्पेक्ट सोच के तब इसका ध्यान रख के इसका क्रिएशन होना चाहिए. ये मेरे आपकी बातों से समझ में आया.
आपने बताया सर, और वो भी मैंने कुछ एस्पेक्ट उसमें लिया है मेरे पेपर में सर, आप वो भी ले लीजिए. और फिर बाकी की जो भी सिविल एस्पेक्ट है, आपका ये भी सवाल था how we can deal with the particular person, that as far as the Hindu Succession Amendment Act is concerned, उसको सिविल लॉ में किस तरह से हमारी डे टू डे प्रैक्टिस में हम लोग उसको एडजस्ट कर सकते हैं और किस तरह से हम लोग इनकम टैक्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देख पाएंगे, उसका कुछ मिक्सचर्स करने का मैंने प्रयास किया है मेरे पेपर में. Still, I am working on that aspect. जो आपका सवाल था कल अपनी बात हुई थी उसमें, I am still working on that aspect. And if the time permits, definitely I will give you another small paper where how the civil law or the other law and the income tax law and the Hindu law, Indian Succession Act, Hindu Succession Act, these all are interplay with each other. I will try to give all the details in my another paper, sir. Very short.